Over the last 8 years, I've welcomed over 750,000 guests to the show. Thanks to my own creative genius and viewer submissions, but mainly just me, we were able to give red-eye guests the introductions they deserved. Here's an array of the best wordplay. If legal expertise were a riding lawnmower, I'd straddle her on the weekends and wave to my neighbors. If hilarity were a boiling pot of water, I'd put a large wiener in him. If sexiness were an old TV, I'd have to bang her to get good reception. If intelligence were a term paper, it would take all night to do him. If genius were an election, she'd keep me up all night waiting for results. If hilarity were a mailbox, I'd mount her on my front lawn. If beauty were string, I'd tie her around my package. If hilarity were the flu, I'd spend the week in bed with him. If fearless commentary were a rope, I'd jump her in the park. Repeatedly, I might add, probably with some kids. If wisdom were a canal lock, sailors would get a rise out of him. If beauty were an infomercial, I'd do her with Billy Mays. If musical genius were a bullpen, men would warm up inside of him. If hilarity were a telethon, I'd do him in front of a bunch of sick kids. I cannot believe that those were on TV. I can't believe. Do people say, like, oh, when we stop doing the really bad ones? You have to understand that I wasn't supposed to do those.
I mean, some of the guests look like what?
That's the first show that would ever make the guest uncomfortable before the show started.
Uncomfortable doesn't even describe it. They look like they want to run away.
I had a guy.
You had a judge there.
I had a guy send me a plaque of one that you did one time, where you said if he was a soap dispenser, I'd pump him in the bathroom. And I have it on a plaque on a wall now in my office.
But it is wordplay. And by the way, when we started doing these,
wordplay.
That's all it is. People say it's not double entendres. It's just what you can do with words.
I'd mount her on the front lawn.
Yeah, but that's what you do with a mailbox. If you think that thought,
if you're
that's on you. If you're thinking the dirty thought, that's on you. That's not on us.
If you're some kind of liberal that thinks you can't mount a mailbox on your own front lawn, you need to get the hell out.
Yeah. The people not having fun are getting sick of you, of Trump, of themselves. For example, since Trump got elected, there's been a jump in patients suffering from what scientists call Trump anxiety disorder, or TAD. TAD. Isn't everything bad named Tad? I mean, do you know a good Tad? By the way, that was a tadpole. Went a long way for that joke. Went a long way. Wasted a lot of time for that one. All right. According to CBC News, a symptom of TAD is a feeling as if the world is ending. Wonder who's spreading that.
Donald Trump and his erratic behavior could be leading the United States towards World War III.
We're talking about annihilating millions of people. Yeah.
If this border wall happens, it will be an unprecedented environmental catastrophe.
We can't begin to normalize this. This is dangerous. This is childish. This is unpresidential.
This is it, the end of the presidential race, and it feels like the end of the world.
Of course. Now, it's easy to mock the suffering, but I'm not. When you see what's coming out of the quivering Cronkites, you can't blame gentler souls for falling ill. There's a whole industry selling us fear, and they're calling it facts. That's another symptom, that the fear spreads faster than a cold sore from Bill Clinton. Fear sells. What? Fear sells. Fear sells. So now the media has replaced climate change with Trump change as their apocalyptic wish fulfillment. Everything bad in this world is Trump's fault. Pick any bad news and you can trace it back to him. Even stuff that happened before he was born. World War I, Trump's fault. World War II, Trump's fault. Synchronized swimming, Trump's fault. The problem, things just keep getting better. We're doing pretty good with North Korea and the Middle East. GDP's going up and unemployment keeps dropping. Consumer confidence is higher than Obama's mom jeans. We have peace and prosperity, yet the other networks see doomsday. Every day is doomsday. And there's the problem. If every day is doomsday, how do you know what the real doomsday is? What we need is a super duper doomsday.
What if everything you knew about doomsday was wrong? Get ready for Super Duper Doomsday, where it's really the end of the world for sure. No lie, it's going to happen, we swear, so buckle up, you're going to die, and so is everyone else. It all starts when President Trump severely slices a tee shot while golfing at Mar-a-Lago. The ball careens off into space, striking a nearby asteroid, which then crashes into the moon, splitting it into thousands of pieces. Moon fragments smash Earth's TV satellites, causing them to only broadcast The View 24 hours a day. This causes the world's IQ to plummet dramatically. Except for Chris Cuomo, he actually becomes smarter.
I missed you, my friends. What do you say? Let's get after it.
Human idiots begin chasing each other in stores with alligators, causing Dana Perino to swear like a sailor. Turtles quickly become the dominant species and start eating everything, causing them to grow at an exponential rate. The UN responds by making another movie about ABBA that sucks so bad it causes the sun to hurl itself into Jupiter, causing all of our blenders to make nothing but the worst kind of virgin daiquiris. Meanwhile, the giant turtles have begun to devour entire cities, causing Don Lemon to speak in reverse English.
Don't believe what you see with your own ears.
Within hours, only a few hundred humans remain as the final survivors mount a last stand by electing Adam Levine as their leader. He tries to make peace by singing. Upon hearing this, the Earth itself implodes, destroying everything ever created, except a doomsday bunker full of my pillows, thus completing Super Duper Doomsday. And it was all Trump's fault.
That's the best. The best ever. That was the best. All right. So the ugly truth, as the media, Hollywood, and academia deplore Trump, they wouldn't exist without him. Seriously, if Trump were to disappear, what would they be doing? All right. So if you think these people are sick from Trump anxiety, just imagine their Trump withdrawal. Talk about a doomsday. Fact is, you can't go back after Donald. He's introduced something into politics that we haven't seen in quite a while. It's energy. Media anxiety isn't from the apocalypse. It's from trying to keep up. It's the first time in 8 years they've had to. They see these weird, damp circles underneath their arms, and they go, "What the hell is that, doctor?" It's sweat. Something you didn't see when you were reporting about Obama. So what about us? Things are going pretty good, which means it's time for
Tough Love with Greg Gutfeld.
Welcome to Tough Love with Greg Gutfeld. Look, I'm not crazy about CNN or Jim Acosta. He's like a tube of Brill cream that learned to pout. But the jeering at the rallies, it's really not a good look. And I mean it. It's like when I drink too much, I think that I look great, but in reality, I shouldn't be in the park wearing nothing but Crocs. They never believe me when I say I'm walking a dog. So, when I see all the yelling at Acosta, I do get the anger. The jeering's born from a cynicism about a press that, under Obama, had their spines removed to make it easier to bend over. And now, it's clean. It's clean. Now that Trump's here, you see the media working overtime, and it's the contrast that bugs you and me. But when you're winning, and you are, you don't need to scream. In fact, I think that's piling on. So my suggestion, stop. And instead, do what my mom always said. Kill him with kindness. Or was it a machete? I could never tell with Mom. It was either kindness or a machete with her. There was no middle ground, but let's stick with kindness. You got to be appreciative and take the high road and be nicer. You'll look better, and it will drive the media even more nuts, and they'll be so confused, they'll probably think it's the end of the world again. Yes, this just in, the New York Times says Brett Kavanaugh once threw ice cubes in a bar. I know, ice, frozen water shaped like cubes. Obviously, we can't have this fiend on the Supreme Court. If he treats ice like a weapon, what might he do with a snow cone? Now, the Times admits the writer of this piece had once, on Twitter, deemed Kavanaugh a threat to society. The Times calls using this writer in error, mostly because they got caught once again. But it's ice.
These police documents that show that Brett Kavanaugh threw ice in someone's face during a bar fight when he was in college. Do you feel that that is in any way disqualifying for someone to sit in the Supreme Court?
This is why we need an FBI investigation, because there are a lot of allegations, and the reports really are about how he behaves when he is drunk.
Yep. Maybe they do want to abolish ICE. So, you see what's going on here? It's called the list. When initial incidents are uncorroborated, you build a menu of even more incomplete items to create an illusion of corroboration. First ICE, then noogies, and finally jaywalking. Talk about a petty criminal. Meanwhile, accuser number 3, who faced a few allegations of her own, fails to navigate a Q&A.
Did you see Brett Kavanaugh, spiking the punch, putting green alcohol in the punch? I saw him giving red Solo cups to quite a few girls during that time frame. I saw him around the punch, I won't say bowls, or the punch containers. I don't know what he did, but I saw him buy them, yes. You know what I'm going to ask. Everyone is wondering if one of those people was Brett Kavanaugh.
I cannot specifically say that he was one of the ones who assaulted me, but before this happened to me at that party, I saw Brett Kavanaugh there.
You know, her lawyer, cue ball Superman, might want to hold off on the presidential run for now. Which reminds me of a joke. What's the difference between a drunk and a journalist? Journalists black out when sober. Faced with facts they hate, they pass out like those fainting goats. This amnesia, oddly, only blocks out stuff that doesn't fit their desires. Swetnick, Ford's inconsistencies, Feinstein's foul play, Rachel Mitchell's memo. This is what the media has done to America. The only accusations that matter are against conservatives. No burden of proof, no need for a witness. All you need is an accusation, and that accuser then becomes the prosecutor. The left accused, then punished for the cause. Something we saw in the Soviet Union and Mao's China. Are we there yet? We aren't, but the press is.
So, while America was trying to enjoy a nice transfer of power on Friday, protesters smashed windows at a bank and a Starbucks. Sorry, did I say protesters? I mean cowardly thug jackasses with hygiene issues. They also destroyed a glass shelter where people wait for the bus. How brave. You really showed those little old ladies trying to make it across town to see their grandkids. What's next? Loot a rest home? And so every violent act helps the Trump re-election campaign. Check out this little progressive in training.
Why'd you start that fire? Because I felt like it, and because I'm just saying, screw our president.
Isn't he adorable? I'm sure his parents are proud when they make bail. But maybe that runt actually works for Trump. I think he just created more Republicans. The media complains about Trump being scary. His words are nothing compared to the violence, this violence that never occurred after inaugurations of Democrats. It seems like only one side engages in this stuff. As for the nonviolent protesters, and there were tons, I get it. You're upset. Your choice didn't win. You've made that clear.
Introduced for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
We've all been there. Let it out. Let it out. I'm sorry. I just love that. It's the greatest moment from this entire election season. One more time. Here's the deal. Some of us felt that way 4 years ago. We didn't show it, but it's good to be seen and heard now and again. Check out this elderly activist.
Come on, girls. Do you believe in love? Because I got something to say about it. And it goes a little something like this. Don't go for second best, baby. Put your love to the test.
Wow, that's amazing. If you can recognize, that was Madonna at the Women's March in D.C., where she also said this.
Yes, I am outraged. Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
She felt like blowing up the White House. With her, it's always about blowing something up. But here's my Here's my favorite protester who brings a bit of style and joy to the events. It's good to see Keith Olbermann getting out more. But after a while, you know what? You got to realize, dear protester, that it's not about you, but a country. Despite the outcome that you might despise, you might hate, you got to accept that the process is still the greatest one on earth, or far better than anything this person could come up with. When this settles down, dear lady, call me. I was once asked to do one for a high school in Jersey, but I turned it down because they wouldn't pay my cab fare. So here's my advice for free. Take any job you can find, work your butt off for one solid decade. That will put you 10 years up on any pothead backpacking to Europe, video game playing drone who thinks success drops from the sky like a magical Kardashian. Modern culture's created a warped view of achievement. Not everyone gets a reality show. So instead, be a workhorse, and by 2025, you'll surpass the famous people you see now. Hard work beats those who prefer identity over industry. Also, ask dumb questions and listen quietly for the answers. That's a wisdom stair climber. Steer clear of pot. It's an ambition sapper. Wait till you've made it. When you're 45, buy a bong, but for now, buy a suit. Move somewhere with decent public transit so you don't drive drunk and hit somebody. Scalpel your online footprint to a fly's toe. Twitter is the contrail of life. When I'm hiring, I don't need to see your naked butt. And I'm pretty open to new things. Real experience beats web activity. Everything's being filmed. So any public rant you do to a clerk at a shoe store, that scars you eternally. Which leads me to my last point. If you're hiring, if you're the person doing the hiring, forgive a scar or two. Remember that when we were young, we were also idiots. There were just no cameras there to catch it. All right.
Speak for yourself.
Well, you filmed everything, Dana?
No, I wasn't an idiot.
You know what the thing is? Well, I don't know. I've seen the photos. One thing I noticed when I was young was I was impatient for success. I think everybody is impatient for success. It will come, but you shouldn't let that impatience drive you crazy. Here's what matters to their leaders. Straws. Yeah, plastic drinking straws. Santa Barbara just passed a bill that punishes restaurant owners with jail time and fines if they give out these straws. And get this, each straw counts as a crime, meaning if you hand out straws at a children's birthday party, which I often do, you could do more time than your average felon. Now, I could understand this law if you didn't have any other stuff to worry about, if you didn't have dramatic rise of disease, crime, homelessness. Maybe you can go after the straws. But your state's teetering on the edge of Armageddon, you nitwits, which may be why politicians are focusing on evil straws. The concern over straws is really just a denial of far worse problems. Straws, get this, they make up only 0.02% of the plastic that ends up in the ocean. You'd find more plastic in the faces of certain coastal politicians, who I won't mention. What also hurts this narrative? America is responsible for less than 1% of the waste in the sea. Most of this plastic trash comes from other countries. But if you can't blame America, then I guess it's no story. But here's where you really see the consequences of such phony concerns. Who needs straws most? The disabled who can't drink without them. Good job, Santa Barbara. Like the straws you try to ban, you suck. But unlike the straws, not in a good way. Jedediah, I've always said if they outlaw straws, only outlaws will have straws. I've said that.
You have said that.
You've heard me say that.
I have heard you, and I am a defender of the straw.
Yes.
I will have you know.
Is this like it? President Obama has threatened Russia with retaliation. Yes, he's going nuclear. He's sending in this.
You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running.
Yes, it's one thing we can always count on. Hollywood celebrities. Sorry, Hollywood's washed-up celebrities. Like these ones who are demanding the Electoral College disregard voting results and deny Donald Trump the office he won.
There are 538 members of the Electoral College. You
and just 36 other conscientious Republican electors can make a difference
by voting your conscience on December 19th.
And thereby shaping the future of our nation.
I'm not asking you to vote for Hillary Clinton.
I'm not asking you to vote for Hillary Clinton.
I'm not asking you to vote for Hillary Clinton.
As you know, the Constitution gives electors the right to vote for any eligible person.
Any eligible person, no matter which party they belong to.
But it should certainly be someone you consider especially competent.
Especially competent to serve as President of the United States of America.
By voting your conscience, you and other brave Republican electors can give the House of Representatives the option to select a qualified candidate.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone you love is in that video. Deborah Messing, Martin Sheen, this guy. Who the hell is this guy? Why is he dressed like Mr. Rogers? I think he works at the local library, or maybe just loiters. There's also Moby, who looks like a wet lollipop that landed on a barber's floor. Noah Wiley, whose last real job was on ER, which is fitting since his career belongs on a stretcher. And if anyone can change Republican minds, it's Loretta Swit.
Especially competent to serve as President of the United States of America.
Those are not hot lips. You know, I see her and I think, yeah, I trust her judgment. So, we got Hot Lips Houlihan, B.J. Honeycutt. Where the hell is Corporal Klinger? Radar O'Reilly? Colonel Henry Blake? Oh, yeah, never mind. He's dead. So these has-beens believe Trump lacks many things to be president.
Donald Trump lacks more than the qualifications to be president.
He lacks the necessary stability.
And clearly the respect for the Constitution of our great nation.
So I love how hard they're trying not to sound hysterical. It's like even they know they suck. The only less appealing spokesman would be a birthday clown with a crawl space. Anyway, Gacy. But at least they're not asking you to vote for Hillary.
I'm not asking you to vote for Hillary Clinton.
I'm not asking you to vote for Hillary Clinton.
I'm not asking you to vote for Hillary Clinton.
What are you asking for then? But they say if you don't vote Trump, you're going to earn something really valuable from them.
And you have my respect.
You have my respect. You have my respect.
For your patriotism.
Yeah, that's all we really want. Respect from Hollywood. I'd rather get crabs. Don't they remember all the celeb videos for Hillary prior to the election? The election she lost badly, and those videos were the laxative that flushed her out? And do they realize Martin Sheen wasn't really the president? They roll him out as if he actually took the oath of office. It's like these bozos don't get it. These PSAs are actually anti-influencers. When Martin Sheen tells me to do something, I know the right thing to do is the opposite. I mean, clearly his advice didn't help his son Charlie. His STDs have STDs. Maybe Trump hired these guys to help him become more popular, because this Trump hysteria disorder makes it impossible for Donald to fail. These apocalyptic predictions set the bar so low. According to a new Fox poll, voters have low expectations for Donald Trump, maybe because of all this bad crap being said about him. And that's a great way to start a new job. Think about all the stuff that had low expectations but ended up being so awesome, like avocados. They're hideous on the outside, but they're oh so creamy on the inside. What about tunnels? When you enter, it's like you're inside a monster's intestine. Hot stoves. It's funny when kids touch them and cry. Or Ronald Reagan. He was supposed to be a dumb actor, but he wasn't. Could Trump make this list? Perhaps. You know, he's brash, he's rude, and maybe a little bit nuts. But I'll take him any day over those solemn sourpusses who have all the appeal of a slow, agonizing death. All right, starting in July, American Airlines will ban ferrets, hedgehogs, and goats from their planes. We went to a goat for comment.
You sound.
That's why we're number one.
So why now? Well, there's a huge increase in service animals once designed for people with medical issues, veterans with PTSD, and people with disabilities. But now it's being tried by anyone wanting to take their critter along for emotional support. So now you have someone dragging a peacock on a plane, which turns a real therapy tool into a joke. But this really isn't about peacocks. It's about people. Whenever something is designed to help you, other people always take advantage of it. You create a cool product, someone counterfeits it, you invent a drug that kills pain, and it becomes a party favor. Fact is, something good always gets hijacked by humans who may not need it at all. Support animals are no different. People game the system, sometimes even with game, Kimberly, which makes it hard for real patients. So if you're applying for service animal documentation and you're only doing it because you want Captain Snuggles near you, and you're not a veteran or a victim of an accident or illness, you're not being cool. And this is coming from a bona fide service animal.
Ew.
It's true. I'm willing to travel anywhere and provide comfort for you for the right price, a bed, and a free meal. Call me. I fit right under the seat.
Were you at the prom from Florida?
I was at the prom.
You're going to have so many offers.
Oh, I'll be. You know, that's a great song. I'll be your comfort animal.
Yeah, you just want to wear a leash.
What rhymes with animal?
Let me tell you, the money thing is going to have to run the other way. You're going to have to pay.